The time is now 5 o'clock. I call this meeting of the Granbury Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections: 55107.2, discuss purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property; 551.073, 074, discussion of officers, employees, and personnel matters, and 55, the safety. 55107. Six, consider the deployments, specific occasions for an implementation of security personnel and devices. The time is now 5:01. The time is now 6 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. At this time, would you please bow your heads and pray with me? Father God, we come humbly to you tonight, thankful for the many blessings. God, we're thankful for the blessings of being able to lead young people as we look out at them tonight and know that this is what we are about. We are thankful for them. And God, we're thankful for the military, for those that have served, who've been away from their families, who've paid the ultimate price. God, as we celebrated Veterans Day this past week, we are reminded that we live in a wonderful country and we have so many freedoms, but not because we've earned them. Simply someone has paid the price for them. God, as we move through the agenda tonight, guide us in the decisions we make. Help us keep in mind that the decisions we make impact these bright young people that are here tonight. Let us keep them forefront in everything we do. Father God, we ask that you go with us, that you leave the night here as we go out, that we would be your people in all that we do. Again, we thank you for the blessings and all these things. We pray in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
At this time, we will move to the Achievement Spotlight. Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. This time, we would like to recognize our Veterans Day Essay Contest winners, and I will ask Stacy Roaming and Renee Jackson and Mrs. Pinnell to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Roaming, and I'm one of the Granbury ISD curriculum coordinators. First, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our gifted Acton Middle School art students and teachers who have beautifully decorated our display outside the boardroom. Would members of our Acton Middle School's art program please stand? Thank you. Before we begin with introductions, I would like to announce some procedures. For our students, as your name is called, please stand. And after all names are announced, please shake hands with our school board members. I'm sure they would welcome the opportunity to congratulate each of you personally. We would like to get a group picture of you before you return to your seats. Afterwards, we will be honored to have our overall winners read their award-winning essays. To announce these distinguished students, it is my pleasure to introduce Julia Pinnell, the founder of Memorial Lane and an executive board member of Friends of Memorial Lane. Julia has long been a supporter of Granbury ISD and has played an active role in making our community a better place. Tonight, Julia will be presenting the winners of the Veterans Day Essay Contest. This contest is an excellent opportunity for our middle school and high school students to showcase their writing skills while expressing their appreciation for those who have served our country. Please join me in welcoming Julia Pinnell to our Granbury ISD School Board meeting.
Oh, not right now, but thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Glenn, Chairperson Harrington, and all sitting on the trustee dais. As she said, I'm Julia Pinnell, a citizen contact for the awesome Veterans Day program recently held at GISD. I hope you attend next year. It grows each year. I believe we are truly teaching our students what being a veteran means. Again, it's been my honor to work on the essay writing contest with Renee Jackson and Stacy Rowing. They are organized. They focus on encouraging each campus to participate, and they bring joy to this project. I know for a fact that the late J.C. Campbell is jumping for joy. 832. I'm going to repeat that. 832 campus students, 6th through 12th grade, and the ROTC cadets wrote letters to veterans. Do you realize what that means? 832 learned more about Veterans Day. Today, they will walk through, shake your hand, and here they will all receive an appreciation, not only from us, but from the school board. I'd like to read it to you. In appreciation, Friends of Memorial Lane Certificate of Community Service for outstanding dedication and valuable contribution of leadership service to our organization and to our community, the Veterans Day Essay winner. We proudly present to Quinn Keene, the Granbury High School overall winner. Quinn, if you'll come up, please. And you can go on and shake hands. The next one, Second Lieutenant Cadet Ainsley Milligan. Quinn didn't get hers. From Acton Middle School, Julie Benton. From Granbury Middle School, Ryan Valdez. From Stars Academy, Cherry Becker. Quinn. Yes, if you'll stand up and face. Yep. Everybody's going to want to get your picture. We're going to take a picture at the end. As a top winner, each is wearing a red, white, and blue reflection ribbon and will receive a freedom bracelet at this time. All winners have their ribbons, so if you'll hold up the ribbon, do you have your ribbon on your wrist? Okay. Well, it's something to hold up your ribbon so they can see the ribbon that you won. Mr. Pennell, a member of Friends of Memorial Lane, will be presenting you with the Freedom Bracelet. The Freedom Bracelet has all the branches of the service that you wrote about. Faye Landum, a member of the Friends of Memorial Lane Board, will be presenting each member with a gift card. If you will give the hand to these winners again, please. Y'all want to stay standing while the winners read their essays? Can you do that for us? Sure. Yes. Oh, of course not. Go ahead. We were able to give 5 of those essays out at our program at the school and 5 of those essays out to our Veterans Day program at the Memorial Park. So veterans all over town got individual written Veterans Day essays. It was amazing. Okay. Now you've heard about the who, the what, the when, the where, and now you'll hear the why these are winners. It is my pleasure to present to you the top 612 campus winners, which we have done. The top campus winner, Quinn King will now read her essay.
Veterans Day, a date that I once observed with minimal acknowledgement, is now one that I fall on my knees and thank God for. I thank Him for the unwavering strength and dedication that embodied and continues to embody millions of Americans. I thank Him for the flag that still paints a picture of the ultimate sacrifice. To me, this day is about acknowledging the immortal bravery so fully expressed in mortal individuals and making a commitment that this much-deserved recognition will prove timeless in a dying world. As a child, I would hear of the unimaginable stories of both my great-grandfather's service in World War II. My mom's paternal grandfather, Paul Bishop, was a Marine veteran of the Pacific Theater, having fought on islands including Peleliu and Okinawa. Her maternal grandfather, Lorimer Inman, served as a tank commander of the 740th Tank Battalion during the Battle of the Bulge and several others, in which he received 3 Bronze Stars, 4 Purple Hearts, and a President's Citation for overwhelming bravery. Combined, both of my great-grandfathers easily witnessed more horror over a 3-year time period than most Americans would experience in one lifetime. These accounts, stories that I viewed as mere adventures, never deeply affected me at the time due to my lack of worldly knowledge. True empathy and admiration were developed when, a couple of years ago, I stumbled upon a personal memoir, a single page stuck in between 600 others, included in the Century, written by Peter Jennings and Todd Brewster. The story, told from the point of view of Claire Goldonick, reminisced of the D-Day operation where the stakes were too high for the Allied forces to give in to fear. As the ramp on Goldonick's landing craft went down, his fellow soldier, a grown man, began to scream and cry, saying, "I can't go in, Claire, I can't." Goldonick pulled the hysterical man from the craft, yelling, we gotta go," over the constant gunfire. Although Claire saw his fellow soldier to the beach, he never laid eyes on him again. With war and the life of a soldier being so toughened and romanticized, many view a serviceman as being invincible, as having the ability to casually stroll through a battlefield without any effects being placed on their mental or physical being. What several fail to realize, though, is that these individuals have the soul of a child. A man who screamed for his mother was also a man who approached the beaches of Normandy with the courage that a mortal man could only dream of possessing. Program bravery is not what is invincible. It is the raw, eternal valor that shines through an American that no other individual can compete with. It was this short text and several others that forced me to realize that we, as Americans, have a responsibility to listen to instead of hear the precious experiences of the veterans who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Developing immaculate get-well cards will never bring back what is lost, but pure acknowledgement may restore the broken pieces that have been missing in the lives of many for much too long. Whether Americans choose to celebrate this day for its intended purpose or not, I hope that each one of them will take a moment to thank God for the individuals whose bodies were riddled with bullets, whose minds were forever altered, whose children never had the experience of feeling their heroic parent holding them tight, and for those brave Americans whose bodies lay forever in the depths of foreign soil.
Wow. It's my pleasure to introduce you to ROTC Cadet Second Lieutenant Ainsley Milligan, bravely and wonderfully representing the cadet to read her winning essay.
Veterans Day is the day we remember the brave men and women who fought for our country. I believe veterans deserve so much more than one day a year to remember all that they've done for us. We get to have the freedom to do what we please because of the people who defend our country from people who want nothing more than to destroy us. Some veterans had to write their own will at 19 and said goodbye to their families, knowing they may never see them again. There's a quote that goes, "Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it." I love that quote because it shows that our freedom isn't at all free. We earn that title because of the people who love this country enough to risk everything protecting it. The things the men and women of our military do and see are things a lot of civilians might not ever be able to comprehend. While we sleep in our nice cozy beds, our soldiers are thousands of miles away from their families, sleeping in dirt. While we get nice hot meals, our soldiers are eating MREs. And while families can talk to us every day, soldiers' families might not hear from them for months. Unfortunately, that's our reality. When I look around at my generation and see that there are less and less people who care about the sacrifices made every day so they can have the freedom to do what they please, it makes my heart ache for our veterans. I see our country falling to pieces. I am so grateful that my parents raised us to be thankful for what we have. We can see our loved ones every day. We can go to bed safe and sound because there are valorous people in this world who went to war hoping they can keep us safe. And so far, they've succeeded. My dad lost his life from a disease he got from being deployed. He used to tell me all kinds of stories about when he was deployed. Those stories really showed me that it takes an extreme amount of courage to defend the Constitution. My parents raised me to always stand for the flag, to always thank a veteran for their service, to love this country more than anything. Being raised by someone who instilled all these things in my life has shown me just how much one is willing to sacrifice for his or her country. My dad was the bravest person I've ever met. He instilled honor, integrity, and love of our beautiful nation into me and my brothers. America is land of the free and home of the brave. Veterans Day is the day we shine light on those selfless men and women who gave it their all to defend this beautiful country. Being thankful and proud, that is what Veterans Day means to me. We stand for the flag and kneel for the fallen.
I would like to ask the parents of these wonderful students, our family members, to stand up. Tonight we also have from my organization, Lloyd Litz, who will present the overall campus and ROTC winners a gift card from their organization.
Ms. Pinnell, thank you very much for inviting me. For those of you that do not know, we're the Greater Granbury chapter of the Military Officers Association of America. We have about 69 members. We're open to any officer who had been commissioned, served, or retired. The organization works with the 32 other organizations in providing issues to the National Congress. We also provide issues of importance to veterans to the state legislature. Locally, we provide, when called on, we provide funds for veterans who are in need. Our special pride and joy, though, is being we're one of the sponsors of the Marine Corps Junior ROTC, the nationally renowned Marine Corps Junior ROTC. We have a golf tournament every year out at Nutcracker, and it's open to anybody who wants to donate money. We use the monies for scholarships for our graduating seniors. I am very pleased that, very gratified. It was 32 essays. The first thing that went through my mind is the committees who had to read those probably need a special shout out. That's an awful lot of reading, and the essays we heard tonight are very, very good, but I know most of them probably weren't. And it was probably a lot of hard reading to dig through. I personally am gratified by it. Before I joined the Army 45 years ago, I was the weekend editor of the Montgomery County Daily Courier in Conroe, Texas. And so I think that being able to write clearly and concisely is it's a skill, and it's almost an art form, and you need to start early. And I'm very glad you did. And so I would like to present a couple of gift cards to the two winners. Each of them I've got one for Ms. King and one for Cadet Milligan. I also have a challenge coin from our chapter for your junk drawer. Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Glenn, Renee Jackson, for helping us keep the vision of J.C. Campbell alive. To teach our tomorrow leaders why we must always learn from the past and respect those who work to keep us free. Thank you for allowing us to do this presentation tonight. This is a representation of all of our wonderful students. And can you know, to have that job, to pick those winners from 832, would you again help me applaud the winners? Could we get a picture of all of us together? Renee, Stacy.
Well done. Top 5 out of 832 is absolutely amazing. So each of you are proud and glad your parents are here to witness that, and appreciate everything that you guys do for our school and for our community. Also, Ms. Pinnell, we thank you and your husband as well. Ms. Landham, thank you very much. All right, this time we will now recognize our GHS DECA officers, and I'll call up to the podium Kylie Peterson.
Dr. Glenn, Madam President, Board Trustees, it is National DECA Month, and so it is our time that we come through every year to tell you about the things that we've done. Since we were here last year, we've kind of gotten bigger. When I was first hired 5 years ago, I was tasked to bring back DECA. It had been about 25 years since Granbury High School had been involved, and they said, hey, go figure it out, and I said, hey, okay. So I took 7 to district my first year, and of the 7, 6 went to state, and then from there, we had 1 to go to international, and it kind of worked out. We're like, all right. So then this last year, I took 28 to district, and 6 went to state, and then we took even more to international. And before I jump ahead even further, I just kind of, DECA is our student business organization. I get really excited and kind of jump to the gun a lot of times. It's our student business organization. All the kids here with me are in the CT business pathway. They are the future entrepreneurs of the world, not just Granbury, not just Texas, but of the world. And they are, they just blow me away with their talent, with their smarts, things that they're picking up from the community, from myself, from when they go into a business, what they're seeing, customer service, and that's what they're achieving in. So at this time, I'm gonna bring up Braden Hunt. He is our DECA president. He's going to tell you a little bit about DECA. I'm going to kind of steal the spotlight for just a second and talk about SBE. SBE is our school-based enterprise, and if you know me, I'm also the teacher over the Anchor Store, and the Anchor Store is the primary and only funding source for DECA. Last year, they have a national certification. It's school-based enterprise. We had to write a 50-page paper. They submitted it to the national office, and we are a gold-level certified school-based enterprise. So I'll get a clap for that, right? Thank you. So with that, and when I say it's a primary source, DECA is not cheap. And so last year, the store alone made over $100,000. And that paid for kids to go to international. I'll take that too. So we are, I would say, maybe the only self-sufficient program at Granbury High School that pays for a competition. The only thing that our kids pay for is their state and national dues, and then the store pays for the rest of it. So with that certification, we're allowed to go compete, and that certification is good for 5 years. So as of right now, we've already earned 2 seats at international. So I'm gonna let Braden talk about what DECA has done for him and his experience.
All right, good evening. My name is Brian Hunt, as she just said. I am a senior in high school, and I'm planning to attend Texas A&M next year. So basically my introduction is just to tell you all more about DECA. DECA is an international business organization that prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. in order to learn these new concepts and prepare ourselves for the real business realm. Students compete in various different events, and we move on to state or internationals based on performance. Last year, I attended the international competition. It was in Orlando, Florida, and this year, I'm planning to compete in internationals in Los Angeles. Some DECA Granbury accomplishments that we have accomplished, I guess. We started in 2020, as Ms. Peterson just said, with 16 members. In 2023, it grew to 44 members. And this year, when I was elected president, we got it up to almost 90. We have 10 current members of the community supporting us and funding us. But when I say funding, that doesn't mean that they're giving money necessarily. It's their support and their guidance. As Ms. P said, the school store completely funds DECA, so we offer a opportunity for our students that they do not have to pay anything, and they can learn these great concepts in life without having to pay any money or their family having their some burden on them. A little bit about me and what DECA has done for me. A big thing for me that I wanted to get out of this is public speaking. It's kind of ironic that that's what I'm doing right now. But I really went into this trying to gain more confidence in public speaking, and I think it worked. So, I think that DECA, I'll give you all the speech that I had to give the freshmen at freshman orientation. I told them that just because it's a business competition, it doesn't mean that it's solely business. Anything that you're passionate about, whether it's fashion, whether it's making people happy, whether it's community service, can be used in this organization, and that you can grow in any way through DECA. So that's really it. That's kind of what I wanted to highlight, and I thank you all for your time, and that's about it. Thank you all.
I will say our district competition is coming up January 9th in Round Rock, and we have 52 kids that are signed up to compete. And like you said, everything from fashion to sales project to community giving. So I'm hoping we can take 2 buses to state this year and a whole plane to Anaheim. So I'm excited about that. I am going to introduce our officers, but before I do that, I want to thank parents that are here. We have a great family support group, and thank you for trusting me with your children. This is something that they are very passionate about, and they practice, they have to take tests, they work on presentations, and it's something that they are committed, they're all in, and I can't be any more proud than I am of them. So this time, I'm going to introduce our officers. So of course, you met Braden Hunt, he's our president. Next up is Vice President of Community Service, Bodie Chastain. Come on up. Vice President of Membership is Anna Quinn. She couldn't be here tonight, but Vice President of Marketing is Kylie Upchurch. Vice President of Competitions is Kaylee Connor. Vice President of Campaigns is Hunter Jones. Treasurer is Dylan Kudo. Senior Representative is, Anahi Madrano. Did I say that right? Sorry. Junior Representative is Everett Brown. Sophomore Representative is Alejandra Landa. And our freshman representative is Giovanni Del Castillo. So in closing, I present to y'all the future of business in Granbury.
All right, to Ms. Peterson, absolutely amazing job. Thank you so much for all of your efforts. Any parents of these kids out there we can recognize, raise your hand, stand up. All right, at this time, it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium the commanding officer of the top MCGIOTC program in the nation, Colonel Scott Casey.
Thank you, sir. For the record, Marines don't cry. Their eyes just sweat. So, ladies, you made my eyes sweat, so don't do that again. So, Madam President, Dr. Glenn, school board members, thank you guys for having us here today to honor one of our national record setters. So, Viola, go ahead and come up. So, let me put this into perspective what this young lady did. So, some of you know that we host a turkey shoot. So, it's currently going on. So, we had Todd Gibson, who I don't think is here, Mr. Gibson. So, he shot today. So, he shot 10 shots, and I think his highest shot, and I brought it right here, is barely a 9, okay? So, this young lady shot 10.2 19 times. So, and I'll get into that here in a minute. So we hosted a match on October the 11th at Granbury High School, and what that is that was a national level match where we had over 150 come from 3 states to shoot in it, and what happens is in that match, because it's a sanctioned match, if any national records as a team or as an individual can count. So Viola here was shooting, and they shoot in the order of kneeling, prone, and then standing. So you can set a record in all 3 of those total, or each individual position. So she was shooting. We're like, man, this kid she's on a roll, and then she comes into standing. So the last position. So she's shooting 10, and there's 20 shots, 10, and then I really started paying attention. I'm like, oh my goodness, she's down to her last shot, and she has shot 19 10s in a row, okay, 10.2s, okay? And then the last shot she shoots a 10, and we're like, that's 200, that's perfect. So 200 with 19 X's. So the X count means if she shot a 10.2 or higher. So she did that 19 times. So she actually set 2 national records. The one was for the overall for JROTC, and then for under 17. So she is, and I guess this is a 3rd record, right? So she is the youngest national record holder that we have had out of the 19 national records that the rifle team currently holds. So pretty impressive. What's even more impressive is she's a sophomore. So those coaches know that the bench is deep with this one. So thank you guys for having us. All right, good job, kiddo. Get up here. And then there's a whole slew of parents here too, so go ahead, if you're parents.
Lola, we're so proud of you, and where's the Colonel? There he is. I will tell you, your cadets, every single one of them are just the most polite, upstanding kids. Anytime I have the opportunity to interact with any of them, just clearly outstanding character. What a credit to you and First Sergeant Rositas and the families and the parents. Incredible program. Thank you for all you do. All right, and finally tonight, something new we're doing this year is we have, as a district, had the opportunity last year. Schottenkirk actually reached out to us and said, hey, we want to be a community partner with Granbury ISD. And so they started by sponsoring our Teachers of the Year. And you had the opportunity to see Connie Olsheg at AES and Mike Beauchamp at the high school. And our custodian here in this building, Francisco, up on billboards, and they were super excited when Schottenkirk presented them with a check. And it was a real emotional moment. And if they had just stopped there, that would have been great. But beyond that, Schottenkirk started partnering with our CTE program, and they now provide jobs and internships for our students. So we have kind of a classroom to work program with Schottenkirk, which is super cool. But beyond that, they didn't want to stop there. They said, you know what, we want to do something for our seniors as well. And so they started a Senior of the Month program where they award a $500 scholarship to an outstanding senior every month right here at our board meetings. And at this time, I'm going to call the representatives from Schottenkirk up to recognize this month's winner.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Kennedy, Product Director of Schottenkirk Automotive Group. And with me today, I have Tom Wofford. He's our General Manager at the Granbury Ford store. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom and I are honored to stand before you today to celebrate a young individual whose dedication to education and commitment to her dreams have set her apart as an outstanding student. Schottenkirk Automotive Granbury takes great pride in recognizing and supporting Granbury seniors in our community, and this month we are delighted to recognize November Student of the Month, Kylie Dove. Kylie Dove possesses a true passion for education and is driven by a profound desire to make a positive impact on the world through her teaching. Kylie's choice to major in English and education at Tarleton State University is a testament to her commitment to knowledge and her ambition to follow in the footsteps of her mother and other family members who are educators. Kylie's dedication to academic excellence is evident through her active involvement in a variety of organizations throughout high school. She has been a valuable member of the Students Leadership Committee, the Stowaway Drill Team, REACH, Lakeside Student Leadership, UIL Social Studies. Today, she serves as the captain of the UIL Literary Criticism Team, showcasing her leadership and dedication to her studies. Kylie's ambition and desire to make a difference in the field of education are genuinely inspiring, and we have no doubt she is destined for a successful, fulfilling career in this noble profession. As we celebrate Kylie Dove's achievements and commitment to her educational personal growth, let us also reflect on the role that our community plays in nurturing such incredible talent. We at Schottenkirk Automotive Granbury are honored to be a part of this community that fosters learning and celebrates the achievements of our youth. In conclusion, please join me in congratulating Kylie Dove for her well-deserved recognition as November Senior of the Month. Kylie, your journey is just beginning. We are excited to see all the remarkable accomplishments that lie ahead.
saw Mom in the audience. Where did she go? Over here. Miss Dove, wave. Great job. Madam President, that is all the achievement spotlights tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Glenn. At this time, we will go to the public hearing on the first report, and unfortunately, Mr. Whitefield is not here tonight. He lost his mother this weekend, and so I will refer to Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. And yes, thoughts and prayers for Mr. Whitefield and his family. Appreciate the job he does. Typically, this is an opportunity for me to really recognize Emmett and his leadership, but also the leadership of his entire team. And I see Hussein in the front, kind of his right arm. So we appreciate him being with us tonight. So I will jump into the first report, and if you guys would pull up the PowerPoint for me, we'll go into the hearing. You don't have it? Okay. All right. I'll move through it this way. So let's start with what is a School First report. School First is the financial integrity rating system of Texas, and it's a financial accountability system report for school districts in Texas. It's developed by the Texas Education Agency in response to the 76th Texas legislature in 1999. And we'll put all of...
If they'll raise their hand. If you'd like a copy of this report, if you raise your hand, Hakeem will make sure you get one. Just raise your hand out there.
Perfect. Thank you. And we'll also put this up on the GISD website when the meeting's over. The primary goal of the first report is to achieve quality performance and transparency in the management of school district financial resources. So under the school's first report, every school district in Texas is required to prepare the following financial management report that includes our financial management performance rating provided by TEA, the district's current financial management practice performance rating compared to the previous year. And then we have additional requirements from the Commissioner of Education, which include a copy of the superintendent's contract and financial disclosures pertaining to the superintendent and school board, which are posted on the district's website. The 2023 ratings are based on 2021-2022 data. So again, we're not talking about current data, we're talking about data from the 2022 fiscal year. And they, again, are published on our district's website and TEA's website. So within 2 months of receiving the final financial accountability report, school districts are required to have a public hearing, which is what we're doing tonight. The current rating system is based on 20 indicators, and they assign an A through F rating, and it's determined by the points earned on indicators 7 through 15, 18 and 19. Indicators 5, 14, and 15 are not tested. However, points are allocated for 14 and 15. And so essentially districts receive an A, B, C, or F rating. So an A rating is considered superior achievement, and you have to obtain 90 to 100 points. If the district answers no to any of the indicators 1, 2, 3, or 4, the district automatically receives an F rating. So how did we do? That's what everyone wants to know. We did answer yes on indicators 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we scored a 100 out of a possible 100 points on indicators 7 through 15, 18, and 19. So we as a district achieved the highest rating possible under this current school's first program. So we are an A district, superior achievement. I believe that's the 8th year in a row GISD has received superior achievement on the first report. And I can tell you it is pretty common. School districts in Texas, one area you don't want to mess up in is handling the public's money. So it's not uncommon for districts across the state to receive an A rating or a superior rating. What is uncommon is for a district to receive a perfect rating and a perfect score. And so I think it's important to mention how well we did from a financial standpoint with Mr. Whitefield not here. He really does a great job with our money. Yeah, and so thank you, Mr. Wimberly. Just to kind of give you an idea of how we compare, Granbury had a perfect score of 100. Cleburne had a 96, Joshua an 88, Godley a 90, Crowley a 94, Weatherford a 98, Burleson a 92, Aledo a 96, Glenrose a 98, and Stephenville a 98. So about 96% of the districts across the state of Texas will receive a superior rating, but again, very few receive the perfect score out of the 1,036 school districts in the state of Texas. So thank you, Mr. Wimberly, for those notes. Just a few more things I want to run through on the 20 indicators, just to give you an idea of what's measured. Indicator 1 looks at the annual financial report, the data submitted to TEA within 30 days. Indicator 2 is the unmodified opinion from the auditor, again, going through all the district's finances. Indicator 3, making sure the school district is in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements. Indicator 4 is timely payments to TRS. Kind of jumping around. Indicator 6 is the average change in fund balance over a 3-year period, ensuring that it's not more than 25% in a decrease. Indicator 7 was cash on hand or current investments in the general fund for the school years. The school district is sufficient to cover our operating expenses. Indicator 8, the measure of current assets to liabilities ratio for the school district over short-term debt. 9 is revenues equal or exceed expenditures. 10, less than 10% variance when comparing what we approve as the budget in August to what the actual revenues and expenditures are over a 3-year cycle. Indicator 12, the correlation between future debt requirements. 13 is administrative cost ratios, making sure that administrative cost ratios stay down, and our districts is incredibly low in that area. School districts ADA within the allotted range of the district's biennial pupil projections. Our PEIMS reports and statutes, making sure the audit is free of any material weaknesses, the audit is free of any non-compliance, and all of our financial information is appropriately posted on the district website. And then the school board members discuss property values at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopts its budget, which we are in compliance with. And just finally, a couple of notes that Emmett did provide me that I'll share with you. First scores, again, were first issued in 2002 and 2003. Of the 21 scores, GISD has received superior achievement in 19 of 21 years. So the 2 years that we didn't get it, in 2009, 2010, we received above standard achievement due to the district being rated academically unacceptable. And in 2014 and 2015, there was a transition year where we received a pass-fail rating. All districts received a pass-fail rating, and GISD received a pass rating, so it did not receive the score of superior. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have as it relates to the first hearing. And if there are none, we can close the hearing. All right, that is all, Madam President.
With no questions, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Glenn?
All right, thank you very much. We had a busy week last week. We had an election, and first let me congratulate Trustee Mike Moore on defending his place, and also we'll welcome Nancy Alana, who I thought may be in the audience. And congratulations, Nancy. I also think it's important, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Munoz, and Mrs. Wark, it takes a lot of courage to run for political office. You put a lot on the line, a lot of time, and it is appreciated, the effort that anyone goes through to run for an office. So we thank them for stepping up to run for what is oftentimes a very thankless job. You know, we are always looking for individuals that are willing to step up without an agenda, that are willing to put kids first and community first and do the right thing. And so we are grateful to all of those candidates who chose to run. And again, congratulations to Ms. Alana and to Mr. Moore. Also, I saw her in the back, and she might have left. Is Cindy Leatherman still in the back? She left. So Cindy Leatherman is a teacher for us at the high school. She teaches dual credit. Two of my sons have had her, and hopefully one will have the opportunity in a few years to have her. But Miss Leatherman, before anyone knew what a VATRE was, we were at the UIL academic banquet, and Miss Leatherman pours her heart and soul, along with a lot of other teachers, into UIL academics, and it's their award ceremony. And I just kind of rolled it out to her because I think highly of her and her opinion. And I said, hey, there's an opportunity to locally control our own destiny as it relates to funding our schools. And I said, what do you think about this idea of a VATRE? And just kind of asked her cold turkey, just to see what she would say. And pretty much, I'll give you the paraphrase, was like, not going to happen. And it was not that she didn't want it to happen. It was just that she knows that this is a conservative community, and being able to articulate the message was going to be a big ask. And I think over the last few months, our teaching staff and our community really came together. And I cannot tell you how excited we were. And I was hoping she would be here because I kind of wanted that "I told you so" moment. But I'll get it tomorrow. I'll see her again. But we just are so blessed to be in a community that supports public schools and supports our teachers, and being able to go into the Christmas break knowing that we're paying a competitive salary to our teachers. We're going to work to lowering student-teacher ratios in the classroom, and that we're going to be able to enhance security. That's a huge win for our community, so thank you to everyone that helped pass the VATRE. And in the final election, your guess is as good as mine. I'm told tomorrow we'll have certified results. I was told that there are I guess, votes. Say that again. Provisional ballots in the 4 counties that represent us. So they'll certify them tomorrow. We're not going to guess, but right now it looks like the bond is down by 3 votes. That's what we know tonight. And in the morning, the remaining ballots will either be counted or not. And again, we have total confidence in the elections offices in all of our surrounding counties. And we will move forward one way or another when we have those results. But again, we're so grateful. Regardless of how the bond turns out, I will say that our parents turned out, our teachers turned out, our community turned out. And 18 months ago, it was we put together a bond that failed miserably, and we learned from that. And this one may fail as well. But we closed the gap significantly, and we've learned a lot, and we're going to continue to partner with our community, work with our community, and until we can put together a bond that our entire community can get behind. And we're excited about that, and grateful to everybody who showed up to the polls and gave us the feedback that we needed as a district. So thank you for that. A couple of more things. I do want to brag on our special education department. They were 100% compliant on SPP indicators 11, 12, and 13, which is evaluation, elementary transition, and secondary transition. And I don't think we talk about special education enough. They have a tough lift, and our director and assistant director of special education, Shelley Kurtzinger and Patty Parsons, are in the audience. Can we just give them a special round of applause? They are absolute rock stars, and to any individual that works in special education and GISD, just thank you for what you do. Your work is important, and you are valued, and we know that you care about our kids that have a lot of challenges and a lot of struggles, and you're so appreciated. But leadership starts at the top, and Shelley and Patty do a great job. Also want to recognize our curriculum department. They actually received a low score from TEA on the grant risk rating, which means we are a great investment for individuals. When we write grants, we are considered a great investment at the federal and state level to receive those grants. And with that said, we received a grant, a school safety grant from 2023 to 2025 in the amount of $1.3 million. So that's pretty exciting. And in fact, the NTAASB is having a conference, I believe, in Garland on Wednesday, and our Chief of Security, Wade Clark, who is in the back, has been asked to be on a panel of experts to talk about school security in the Metroplex area. So congratulations to Mr. Clark and his team. And I'll end with this. Each morning I get up and I try and go run around the track, and there's always a young man there, and Colonel Casey has left, but he is an individual who is in the MCJROTC. His name is Jonathan Hutchinson. And every morning he's running, every morning he's working out. He's a yes sir, no sir, blue collar kid. His dad is a DPS officer, which I can relate because my dad was a DPS officer. So he kind of holds a special place in my heart. And we had our Veterans Day assembly, I guess last Friday at about 9:30. So about 10:30, we're in the auditorium, and he actually receives a naval ROTC scholarship in the amount of $180,000. And so Jonathan's not here, but what a blessing to him and his family. And he's holding off on taking that because he still has his applications into West Point, Annapolis, and Air Force Academy, which are his top 3 choices. So congratulations to that young man. Madam President, a lot of good things going on in Granbury ISD. That's your report for the month.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we will move to the public comment. We have 2 that want to speak on agenda items. Carrie Raymeyer wants to speak on item 12A. Ms. Raymeyer, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm speaking on item 12A, which proposes multiple policy changes to each of 3 different local policies, all wrapped up into one line item. The agenda that's made available publicly is extremely skimpy and doesn't tell us one thing about what changes are being proposed. But I can see why the proposer would not want the public to have advance notice of these Orwellian changes. Several of the changes being proposed offer zero benefit to the district students, parents, taxpayers, and even the trustees. They are simply meant to consolidate power in the hands of the superintendent, who is an employee. Have all information funneled through and controlled by his office. This reminds me of the Biden administration's disbanded Disinformation Governance Board, with Dr. Glenn as the Ministry of Truth. Some of the changes are even obvious attempts to prevent trustees from being able to discuss or debate agenda items in the open public meeting. One item says trustees may not share the agenda with their constituents, and citizens must request it from Dr. Glenn. In that case, you need to prepare an agenda that doesn't contain any sensitive personnel or other private information so that trustees may share it with their constituents. It is absurd to create a situation where trustees have to tell citizens, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you what we're meeting about or what we're discussing tonight. Get it from the superintendent. Is this board and Dr. Glenn willing to guarantee that his office will give the agenda on the spot to anyone asking for it? Will you have to sign in, give your address, pay? Are we going to hear that we need to submit a public information request? In which case we'd get the agenda maybe a week after the meeting? He is not directly accountable to the voters and has not demonstrated willingness to increase transparency. I would like to know where these proposed changes came from, who is actually proposing them, because several of them do not seem to comport with the law, and they use AG opinions as justification that are not even relevant to the policy change. I would like the board to stop abdicating their authority to an employee and stop letting the tail wag the dog. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raymeyer. Faith Barnes. speak on 12A?
Good evening. My name is Faith Barnes. I'm a community member and a parent. Tonight, I would like to address the board on the revisions to the board operating procedures and the integrity of this boardroom. Boardrooms are being attacked across the nation and across Texas. And ISDs, because of laws and FERPA, they're not allowed to come back at that all the time, and they're empty-handed. As a community member and a parent, I want to protect the integrity of this place. We recognize students here that are the future of our community. The behaviors that happen in this boardroom is an exact example and lesson that our students are learning from us. There should be respect, democracy, and composure when people are up here standing, not threats to staff. Currently, it is a platform for political agendas and threats and hate. In this boardroom, you also make decisions for over 800 employees. This boardroom sets the tone for their classroom every day. As a former employee, I had the honor of swearing in some of you. I took great faith and hope in that. I enjoyed every moment of that. Ms. Graft, I had the honor of doing that for you. I always treated you with respect and honesty, and I cannot say the same. You have tried to defame my character online, and that is very, very hurtful to me. Our staff is constantly under attack. As board members, you do have the ability to maintain integrity in this space. As board members, while still adhering to policies and procedures and transparency to our community, you can end the craziness that's happening here. I would like to say that on behalf of parents and staff, that we stand with the board in any changes to policy and procedure that protects this space from the threats, hate, and to stop the abuse of the public platform. Boring is better. Let's bring the boring board members back. I hate to see this happen to our community. I hate to see this happen to you guys. I hate to see my fellow staff out here. It's hurtful, and it's not right. We can agree to disagree and not attack each other. And I will fight that for a long time. Thank you.
At this time, we'll go into consideration on actions discussed in the closed session. Item 10A, consider staff recommendations. Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Wes Jones and the HR department for putting together tonight's personnel report. We went through it in closed session. You have it in front of you, and it is our recommendation tonight that you approve as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a motion by Ms. Gore,
And I'll second.
a second by Mr. Moore. Is there any discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 7-0.
Thank you, Madam President. You also have in the personnel report a third request for catastrophic leave. Again, this individual has been vetted by Mr. Jones and our committee, and is our recommendation tonight that you approve as presented.
Do I have a motion regarding the third request for catastrophic leave?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Townsend. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Wimberly. Is there any discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 7-0. That motion passes. Section 551, the deliberations regarding security. Dr. Glenn, do you have anything with regard to that?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Again, the Texas Education Agency is performing intruder audits across the state of Texas. Their goal is to hit every campus in Texas this year. So far, Granbury ISD has received 4 audits. Acton Middle School is the most recent audit. A requirement from the Texas Education Agency is that these are presented at all school board member meetings publicly. And so I'm proud tonight to say that once again, we received a perfect score on the intruder audit performed at Acton Middle School.
Thank you, Dr. Glenn. We'll move on to the consent agenda items to approve the minutes from the meeting from October the 16th, 2023, to approve out-of-state travel request by the Junior Optimist Club, by the MJROTC, by the Robotics and Cheer America. We also have a first review of policy update 68, and to consider approval of policy CKE presented by Mr. Clark, and to consider budget amendments. Does anyone want to speak to any of those or pull any of them from the consent agenda?
I would like to pull 11E as usual to talk about all the wonderful things our community is doing.
Okay, anything else want to be pulled?
Yes, I'd like to pull, I just have a comment, I guess, on 11C, and I'd also like to pull 11D.
Would you like to go ahead and comment on 11C?
Yeah, I just, this is a first review, correct? This will come back?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that the policies and exhibits need to be given to the community so that they have an opportunity to comment on these at the next meeting, since there's 6 revisions have to do with students.
Thank you, Ms. Lowry. So we will now entertain a motion to consider consent items 11A, B, and C. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Madam President.
Motion by Ms. Gore. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Townsend. You have a motion and second. Do you want any additional discussion on these items? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 7-0. On 11D, consider approval of CKE local policy.
Yes, first I'd like to say that we talked about this, I pulled it last time. There is still a paragraph in here under authorization where it makes reference to the CKE local. It presently does not provide any requirement defined for training and certification, as does the Marshall program. This paragraph is written so that any board now or in the future may approve a district employee to carry without a certification or training of a TCOL training. I have a motion I'd like to make on it, and I say all of this because 6 times in the education code, the board has the responsibility. The TCOL, the appointing entity, will be the board. The TASB legal discusses the school marshal by appointment by the school board. We have a lot of responsibility to make sure that the people that are carrying guns within this school district have all of the proper qualifications all the way up to the TCOL. I had a meeting with Mr. Clark about a week ago, and I'd like to thank Mr. Clark. He gave me a very thorough time and gave me a lot of explanation on the program. I wanted to thank him for that time. It gave me a better understanding of the Marshall program and what we consider to use as a guardian, which is just a small portion of someone who's not had the TCOL training yet. I do believe that Mr. Clark could use more uniformed marshals. The uniformed marshals their main focus is job safety and security, and that they're in uniform and they make a deterrent and they have a presence. And I will read the motion I'd like to make at this time.
Mr. Clark, would you like to come to the podium, please? Ms. Lowry, you may read your motion that you would like to make.
I'd like to have this added to this language here that is in blue. The board may only authorize district employees to carry a firearm on GISD property who have gone through the appropriate GISD vetting process for the Marshal Program and receive the Marshal Certificate from the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement, TCOL. Or if needed temporarily, this district employee may receive authorization to carry a firearm on GISD campuses until the district employee can be scheduled for the Marshal training, and only if this person has received the 16 hours of training defined under the Texas Government Code 411.1901 in addition to the psychological fitness review. I'd like to have that wording added to this CKE policy.
And I'll second that motion.
Mr. Clark, would you speak to that, please?
Absolutely. So what you're proposing is exactly what we do. Currently, there is a policy that's not CKE local, it's a local policy. All the CKE legal and local policies are this is what we do, and then we have other policies that this is how we do it. And so I have a policy that I can share with you if you'd like. It is a confidential policy, but I can meet with you and share it. But it does say those exact things, that the guardian would only be used in special circumstances and only after ensuring that they had the training that you just referenced. And then again, only until they can reasonably attend a school marshal school.
Right, but I understand that's what you had said before, and I understand that.
Okay.
It's just the wording in here in the CKE local. If we leave this here without stipulating that a guardian is only a small portion and has to be wait until they go on to the Marshal Program, this gives authorization, and then the training that is stated in this says the district shall provide each district employee who is authorized to possess a firearm on district property specialized training in crisis intervention, management of hostage situations, and the topics the board may determine necessary, but it doesn't say anything about they will then be moved ahead to do the training for the marshals.
I understand what you're saying. And the board, of course, it is at your pleasure to say who you will and who you will not approve for any of those marshal or the guardian under a short-term basis. As far as changing the wording or the verbiage in CKE local, I have to find out what if that's something we can actually do or not.
Yes. So where Mr. Clark is trying to go is, you'll remember a couple of months ago, he came and he gave a presentation that included the names of our marshals and guardians, which we keep confidential. There's also two plans that correlate. One is a confidential plan for reasons that I'm sure everyone can understand. We don't release everything we do from a safety standpoint, so anyone can go and read about it online. And so where Mr. Clark is trying to go is the confidential plan that we gave you a few months ago that we approved in closed session and then came in open session and approved. That plan contains the language that you're referring to, along with a lot of other information that we try and keep confidential for a variety of reasons, namely the safety and security of our students and staff. If we were to take some of those confidential plans and make them public, it could be done so. I would just ask the board to proceed with caution before we did.
And I'm not asking that anything confidential I'm just, the fact that this authorization says that we could look out here and say, I like that guy out there, I want to pick him, I want him to carry a gun. We just want to make sure that under that part that's guardian, that it says this is just a small interim thing until they can become TCOL certified. We just don't want this board or another board at some point just to say, I like that guy, without going through you.
Two questions. This is a very lengthy addition you're trying to make to CKE. Did you provide that to Mr. Clark ahead of time?
No, not yet.
Did you provide it to Dr. Glenn or anybody on the board ahead of time?
It wasn't asked for, no, I did not, but I certainly am able to give it to you now if you like it. I've got it right here in writing.
So am I understanding correctly then that the language proposed in the motion would just be duplicating policy we already have in place? Is that correct?
It would duplicate it, yes.
Okay.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion is as presented, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show that that motion failed, 2-5. Do I have a motion to accept the CKE as presented?
So moved, Madam President.
Motion by Mr. Moore. Do I have a second? Ms. Gore? Any discussion of this motion at this time? All in favor of accepting CKE as local as presented, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. On a 5-2, let the record show that those against were Ms. Graff and Ms. Lowry. Then we will move to the next agenda item, which is 11E, the budget amendments. Ms. Townsend.
All right. Sit back, folks. We've got quite a lot tonight.
We need a big da-da-da-da.
Really? Okay. Granbury Door and Window, donated to Emma Robertson for the Scarecrow Contest winner of $500. Donations from Acton Elementary PTO to the Campus Activity Fund for the student travel to Camp Grady Spruce, $1,612. Donation from Kia to the Bacchus Campus Activity Fund to supplement student travel, $1,000. Donation from Bronner PTO to the Bronner Campus Activity Fund for campus improvements, incentives, and supplemental travel funds, $17,445.20. Donation from Granbury Door and Window to Bronner Campus for their Scarecrow decorating contest, $250. Donation from the Law Enforcement Association of Hood County to the AMS Campus Fund for team building prizes, $300. Donation from Crossing Place to the GHS Media Department Campus Activity Fund for sponsorships, $140. Donation from Valencia Ditto to the CTE Department Campus Activity Fund for general use, $3,000. Donation from VFW Post 7835 to the GHS MC JROTC Student Activity Fund for general needs, $2,500. Donation from PJ's Lawn Care to the Stowaways Drill Team Student Activity Fund for uniforms, $900. And donation from the Stowaway Booster Club to the Stowaway Drill Team, again for uniforms, $471. Donation from the Touchdown Club to the Football Campus Activity Fund to supplement travel expenses, $3,204. Donation from the Granbury High School Girls Golf Booster Club to the Girls Golf Team Activity Fund for travel expenses, $2,500. Donation from the Lady Pirate Athletic Booster Club to the GMS Girls Athletic Campus Activity Fund for general use, $1,710. Y'all ready for the grand total? $35,532.20. When you are out and about, please go up to some of these businesses that are giving so generously to our future and thank them. And while you're there, spend a little money. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept the budget amendments?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wembley. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Moore. Any further discussion? I second what Ms. Townsend said. These folks give of their time in volunteering, but they also give so much besides that to our kids. So if you see them, be sure to thank them. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 7-0. We will move to action items. Action 12A, to consider amendments of Board Policy GF, FNG, and DBGA local and trustee standard operating procedures to authorize the district's legal counsel to align changes in GISD local policy. We have been asked by several members of this board for us to look at, again, these policies and to look at our standard operating procedures. We have presented to you the board policy changes along with the standard operating procedure changes.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to accept the changes with the following amendments to the board operating procedures in visitor participation at board meetings. I have a couple changes. I don't know if you want me to go through these each one.
Yes. Okay. Will you give us page number, please, Ms. Gore?
It's page 9 of the board operating procedures.
All right.
Third bullet point, eliminate the word regularly, just any called meeting. Is that on there? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, it's the fourth one. It's the fourth bulletin,
Yes.
and you want to eliminate regularly called
Yes, just any called meeting.
meetings. Okay.
So it's the district website by 9 a.m. the day of a called meeting. So whether
Okay.
it's special, regular, just any called meeting.
Okay.
And also to add in the words for public comment signups, that there will be a computer available at the administration building for the public to use for public comment signups. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth bullet point, there's just a couple edits there to add in the word all and an S at forums. I'd also like to add in public comment at meetings will only be allowed for items on the agenda. A special meeting will be called at least quarterly to hear non-agenda item topics. This is something during the strategic planning on the culture committee that I got a lot of feedback from the community members on, and this was one of the recommendations that a lot of the community members made. So listening to the community feedback, this is something that our community would like us to do. And so we would have a quarterly meeting for non-agenda item public comments. Also, I'd like to add in during a special called meeting for public comment on non-agenda items, any member of the public who lives within the district will be given priority to speak. All out-of-district visitors will speak at the end of each public comment session. I want to get rid of the limited to 1 minute. I don't believe that should have been in there. I think, whether they're a resident or a non-resident, they are allowed the same amount of time, either way. But we can prioritize residents first and then non-residents. So scratch out the limited to 1 minute.
Okay. Ms. Townsend?
Oh, that's, all out of, because it's got to be the same either way. And then the board president can set reasonable restrictions on the length of a special called meeting to hear public comments on non-agenda items. So depending on how many people sign up, the board president would be able to set reasonable limits there, depending on.
All right. And Ms. Townsend?
Yes, on page 5, developing the board agenda. This is mostly cleaning up redundancy. The third bullet, that wording is exactly in the 8th bullet, the last bullet on the line. And I don't like redundancy because what happens is in the future when we make changes, one will get changed and the other one won't. So I want to strike the third bullet. There's nothing in the third bullet that doesn't appear in the 8th. Also, then you go down to the 5th bullet, which begins trustees requesting an agenda item. That exact same wording is in the 7th bullet. There's no reason for it to be duplicated. So what I'm asking is that bullet 3 and bullet 5 be removed from this page. And it will not change any of the wording or any of the meaning of this page.
Just to clean it up.
Just cleans it up. I don't like redundancy.
I have a request as well, since I was wondering if this could be tabled till the next meeting so that the public could take a look at this, because a lot of this affects the public. I don't believe that it was put online for them to see it. Also, I'd like to know who was involved in crafting this. I was not. I did hear someone say that several members were, but I was not included in this, so I'd like to know who was involved in crafting this.
My comment was, I was asked by several members, Ms. Gore.
I made some suggestions. This is something we do yearly, so if you have any suggestions with board operating, this is for board operating procedures. So this applies to us as a board and how we operate in our meetings.
When was that meeting?
I just emailed my changes to her, so I had some requests that I made.
I was not included in that.
In the standard operating procedures, it says that we will review standard operating procedures annually before the reorganization of the board.
Okay, I'm just letting the public know that we were not all included in that. Did you talk to an attorney before you made these changes?
Yes.
We did.
You did, okay.
Yeah, so that's something you can do every year before we seat new board members. It's in there. So we knew this was coming, which is why I made my request to the board president.
But all of it did not come to everybody, every board member.
No, it did not. I'd also like to know, how does this benefit the children, parents, and taxpayers of Granbury? These changes, and I'd like to, if I might, read, for example, for the public from page 199, because there's some mistakes in here, so I think we really need to table it so that we can take a closer look at this. Page 199, it says, closed meetings may not be recorded by an individual trustee, nor may any trustee record a closed session by using a personal recording device or cell phone. And they reference Texas Penal Code 39.06. I have spoken to an attorney, and that penal code does not apply to recording information because you're not decimating it to a third person to harm another. So there's already a mistake in here, so I'd like to, that's why I think this needs to be tabled. And then page 203 talks about TASB training. And we did vote not too long ago that we could do TEA approved training, but now it states with permission of the school board president. I'm not done talking. To ensure the most effective use of district funds, the board president will coordinate the training activities that trustees will attend where travel or large enrollment fees are required. Trainings that are not approved by the board president will not be reimbursed. Karen and myself did alternative training. It was $390 per person. There was no travel. Like I said, we voted on this last year and it was approved. This is just more of what the public needs to be aware of.
So I requested that change because some of the training I paid for was for team of 8 training, as I understand it, which has to be done with your entire team of 8. So really it was kind of a waste of taxpayer dollars because you paid for training that you couldn't use, that you had to redo.
No, we didn't, because the team of 8 training was the only training that we didn't have, and Mrs. Harrington said that we had to do the team of 8 training, so it was not.
So that wasn't part of the training y'all did through your online stuff?
They mentioned it.
It was, they were, for clarification, they received training online, but it did not count, and I think that's the...
Because they needed the, right, exactly.
Because your team of 8 training can only be done with the team of 8. Also, just for your information, Ms. Graff, it is a state law that you cannot record the sessions,
Well, I would encourage you to look at that penal code because it doesn't apply to...
If that penal code doesn't apply, we can have the attorney look at that and scratch that from the language, but I think that language still needs to be in there. If we need to get rid of the penal code in quotations, we can do that, but I think that language still needs to be in there.
Again, I would like for the public to be able to see this before we vote on
I've actually requested this to be made available online to the public after we approve our board operating procedures so that the public can see what they look like.
So you're saying after we vote on it?
Correct.
And so the public has no input.
This is for us.
That's not very transparent to the
But
public.
this is for us as a board to operate. This isn't about local policy. This is about board operating procedures, how we operate as a board,
This
which is
impedes
different.
board members from doing what is authorized in the Education Code, Open Meetings Act, Public Information Act, and also infringes on constitutional rights.
I disagree.
Well, this also has to do with visitor participation, and that 9 a.m. in the morning should be changed to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. These people may have other things to do first thing in the morning to be able to
many
have to
days
sign
do
up
they have?
by 9 a.m.
3?
Yeah.
10 days. No, for public comments. How many days? So that's 3 days?
3 days.
Yeah,
No,
so
Then the 9 a.m. time frame that you have to sign up by.
But they can sign up beginning any time after the agenda is posted, so they can
Yeah.
sign up online. We're going to
That's
move
just
the
the
form
time it
online. Yeah.
stops.
Yep.
You can sign up the day before that.
Yeah, well, can they sign up online over the weekend?
okay, so I will go back to the motion. I'd like to make the motion with the proposed changes and that I made, as well as
I
the
think
proposed
there's still
changes that
more
Ms.
discussion.
Townsend made.
A second.
No, there's a couple other things that have to be discussed here.
Yes, there is.
I call the question.
I have a motion and a second. The question's been called.
Wow. There's still more discussion. We can't end discussion.
All in favor of the motion as presented, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show. 5 to 2 with Ms. Graff and Ms. Lowry objecting. We'll go to the next item, which is 12B, consider approval of an MOU with the Lipan ISD. Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Ralph Carter is the superintendent of Lipan ISD. He reached out to GISD. He is in the process of completing his emergency operations plan, and he is wanting to use Granbury ISD as a reunification site in the event there is some sort of emergency in GISD. It is our recommendation tonight that you approve this as presented.
Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move that we approve the MOU with Lipan ISD.
And a second. And a second. I have a motion by Mr. Moore, second by Ms. Townsend, and this will allow us to be a safe haven for them in case of an emergency.
And vice versa.
Huh?
It looks like it's vice versa, too.
Yeah.
It works
Yes.
both ways.
Yes. All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 7-0. Moving to the resolution for voting for Central Appraisal District of Hood County Board of Directors. Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. For several HCADs, and we're in 4 counties, this is the month that we need to cast our ballots or our votes for the Appraisal District Board of Directors. Hood County is the biggest one for us. Granbury ISD is allocated 3,177 votes in this levy, and it takes exactly 834 votes to elect an individual to the Appraisal District Board of Directors. So in doing the math for Granbury ISD, it looks like we can elect 3 members with 834 votes each, and then we can allocate our remaining 675 votes toward another member. I can tell you that I've had preliminary conversations with Mr. Kaufman at the city. He has indicated to me that the city plans to cast their votes, which I believe they have 177, toward Eddie Rodriguez, who is currently on, make sure that's right.
Yes.
It is. Eddie Rodriguez, who is currently the chairman of HCAD, and he's also on the city council. So if the city were to allocate their 177 votes to Mr. Rodriguez along with our 675, that would essentially guarantee his election as well. So, but ultimately, this is pleasure of the board. So trustees, you have the candidates in alphabetical order who are recommended. I will tell you, just as a personal note, the incumbents are Rick Fry, Monty Lewis, Eddie Rodriguez and Ron Sutton. Ron Sutton did reach out and say that he has enjoyed his time on the board. He is happy to serve again, but he wanted to put his endorsement behind Rod Lidkey. I do not know Mr. Lidkey, but I can say that Mr. Sutton spoke very highly of him and said that he had a vast knowledge of wealth and experience. But again, I don't know him, I can't speak more than that, but I just wanted you to know that an incumbent was willing to give up their position for Mr. Lidkey.
I have a background summary of Mr. Lidkey if anybody's interested. He's a rancher and a farmer for the past 30 years. He owns 1,000 acres. He runs cattle on approximately 1,200. Owned and farmed 400 acres in Comanche for 25 years. Owns significant mineral interests in Hood County. Owner of 3 rental properties in Granbury. 2 in the historical preservation. He's the owner-operator of Jericho Energy since inception during 2014, CEO of CS Week Incorporated in 2012, retired partner Price Waterhouse Coopers, managing partner Central's U.S. Utilities, Deregulated Utilities and Pipelines, former president, Texas Farm Bureau, Hood, Somerville Counties, president for several years, board member, knows rural Hood County property values, understands property lease rates in Hood County, knowledgeable on mineral values in Hood County, both Barnett Shale and older wells, has purchased mineral estates in Hood County, understands restrictions for HPD, understands the difference between the HPD and historical overlay district, manages short-term rentals in Granbury and HPD, manages gas well production in Hood County, conversational about current pricing markets versus Hood County prices, understands mineral appraisal process for Hood County, project of price projection and production, long history of operation of small nonprofit, including tax aspects of nonprofits, 28 years of board experience, has 3-party independent audit, involved in all aspects of business such as finances, IT, projects, mergers, acquisitions, and strategic projects, oversaw various ag projects, addressed ag issues specific to Hood County, such as the proposed Trans-Texas Corridor, nonprofit board experience.
That's really impressive. I will say that the county actually nominated Mr. Lidkey, and based on what Ms. Lowry just said, the county they're going to get to seat one of these individuals. So it sounds like with that impressive of a resume, that may be the direction the county is going with the nominee they have. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
do we make a motion on how we're allocating these votes by each candidate?
Divided up.
We have
yes.
Okay.
So, and again, I just broke it down by how to guarantee a seat, but
Right.
you could allocate any way you wanted. You have 3,177. It takes 834 to be elected.
So I know we'll have like a little bit extra, but I don't know if it's worth.
It is. Yeah, it is. So essentially you could, as a group, you could pick any 3 individuals you want on the list, and they would automatically be appointed to the board of directors, and then you could allocate your remaining 675 to any other individual you want, and depending on, again, if you were to allocate that to the city, and the city were to put their 177 toward Mr. Rodriguez, that would guarantee him a spot. Okay. Again, it sounds, based on Mr. Lidkey's resume, that may be the direction the county is going with their spot, so.
Well, considering that was their candidate that they nominated, I'd like to make a motion to allocate 834 votes to Scott Bradley, 834 votes to Rick Fry, 834 votes to Mark McDonald, and 675 to Eddie Rodriguez.
I have a motion before you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Reiterate for you that 834 votes to Scott Bradley, 834 votes to Rick Fry, 834 votes to Mark McDonald, and 675.
75. I believe the math on that adds up to our
Is that
total.
Eddie, well, if it's not, whatever we deduct, we'll take it off of Mr. Rodriguez, okay? I have a motion from
You're right.
Ms. Gore. Do I have a second?
Mr. Moore seconded.
Oh,
I said, yeah.
thank you, Mr. Moore. Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 5-2 with Ms. Lowry and Ms. Graff.
Thank you, Madam President. The next three, we have significantly less votes. So, again, same amount of votes allocated, but instead of 3,177, in Johnson County, we have 13. So you have the list of current board members there. We tried to outline who was currently serving on the board, and then obviously you have the official ballot next to it on page 219. And again, this is pleasure of the board.
Do I have a motion from anyone on the board regarding our 13 big votes?
Madam President,
Mr. Wimberly.
I move that we cast 13 votes for the current chairman of the Johnson County Board, Toby Ford, who's a candidate.
I have a motion from Mr. Wimberly to delegate Mr. Toby Ford to get our 13 votes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Ms. Gore. Any further discussion?
I just have a comment. I wasn't provided any background information on any of these, so I can't make an informed vote, so I will be voting no.
All in favor of the vote? Show of hands. Opposed, same sign.
I have a question. When you say you weren't provided any background information, did you request any?
It should have been provided. I mean, that's kind of common sense. If you're asking us to vote on candidates, it should be in the board packet, and it was not.
Thank you, Ms. Graff. Moving right along to consider resolution and voting for Central Appraisal District of Parker County Board of Directors. And once again, we have a bunch of votes here, don't we?
20 votes, Madam President, for Parker County Appraisal District. And again, we have the current board members listed on your left, and then on your right, or at least my right of my packet, 224 and 225 of your board book, you have the nominees. And so I can tell you that Jerry Durant, who has ties to Granbury, was who we have typically given our Parker County votes to. But again, this goes to pleasure of the board.
Do I have a motion for someone for our 20 votes for Parker County?
Madam President, I move that we take our hefty number of votes and put it behind Mr. Jerry Durant.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Townsend, a second by Ms. Gore. Any discussion? All in favor, show of hands. All opposed, same sign. Let the record show 5-2 with Mrs. Lowry and Mrs. Graff voting no.
All right, one more trustees is the Somerville County Appraisal District Board of Directors, and we have 11 votes in Somerville County. And again, you have the official ballot, and you have the current list of board members, and this item again is pleasure of the board.
Do I have a motion regarding our 11 votes?
Madam President, I will move to give all of our 11 votes to Nemo Britton.
I have a motion to give all 11 to Nemo Britton. Do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Wimberly. Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show 5-2. That motion passes. We will move right along to reports.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I'll call up Mrs. Christina Sosby. She is our curriculum coordinator for ESL and bilingual instruction and federal programs, and she will present tonight the Emergent Bilingual Evaluation Program report.
Good evening. I'm Christina Sesby. I'm the bilingual ESL and Title III coordinator for Granbury ISD, and I am presenting the 2022-2023 Emergent Bilingual Program Evaluation. We will start with the bilingual programs. For 22-23, we had the dual language immersion one-way program at Emma Robertson and Bronner Elementary for pre-K through 4th grade. And at 5th grade at Bronner, we had the transitional bilingual early exit. We now offer dual language immersion one-way at the pre-K through 5th grades at Emma and Bronner. We phased out the transitional bilingual early exit because English was taught at the expense of the student's first language. While dual language immersion is an additive bilingual program that values and leverages the student's primary language while acquiring English and adding to the linguistic and cognitive abilities of EB students. The next program is our English as a Second Language, which is ESL, which is at all 10 GISD campuses and is offered through either content-based or pull-out instruction. It emphasizes the mastery of English language in all core subjects, and we have bilingual paraprofessionals at all several campuses with higher EB numbers to assist and support student learning, teachers, and parent contacts. And the primary goal of ESL is to achieve progress towards mastery of comprehension, speaking, reading, and composition of the English language in academic and social environments while developing high levels of cognitive agility and its practical applications. Next, we're going to go through our EB numbers. At the end of the 21-22 school year, there was 753 EB students. At the end of last school year, there was 853. And as of October 27th, there were currently 974 students, which was about 12.26% of our total enrollment. There are currently 15 monitored students in years 1 and 2 of monitoring after reclassifying and exiting as English proficient students.
How long do we follow those kids after they exit?
After they exit, we monitor them for 2 years, and then we do an additional 2 years of just coding them as former EB students.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our native languages. So there was 16 native languages for the students that were served in the 22-23 school year, and there's a list of them with the languages spoken, and Spanish was obviously the most predominant language at 737 of our students that were Spanish speaking, along with English as a second. And the reason there's English, as was asked last year, was because they are dual language. They're learning English while their native language as well. And most of the homes were speaking more than one language. For our student progress, we'll start with TELPAS progress. 774 students took the 2023 grades 2 through 12 TELPAS. Of those 774 students, 94 received an advanced high composite score. Unfortunately, we could not exit last year with just the composite score, which has changed for this year. As of this reporting period, TA has not released the growth measures for any state assessment. Our next one is our TELPAS Alt. Of the 774 students, 114 of them were dual coded as being served through the Emergent Bilingual Program and Special Education. Of those 114 students, 4 of them were classified as life skills students. And of those 4, 2 of them had a progress growth measure of 2, which is the highest they could receive for accelerated growth. Of the remaining 110 special education students, 5 received an advanced high composite score. And again, TA has not released the growth measures for last year.
Can you please explain TELPAS?
Yes, TELPAS is the Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System that they rate our students on 4 language domains. It's speaking, listening, reading, and writing. The state has transitioned that to all online testing. So the one category that was a big proponent for statewide that was hurting our emergent bilingual students in the state of Texas was the speaking domain because of the parameters that are required for them to retain an advanced high score on speaking. And just to give you an example, some of our teachers at the secondary level took the TELPAS test just to see how they would do, and some of them actually scored intermediate because of the parameters, showing so they could get an understanding of how difficult it is and why I'm working with the teachers and the campuses to help provide programs to help them with that assessment. Okay, the next slide is just showing the data snippets from what I just presented. Our next is our STAR reading. In grades 3 through 8th grade, 377 emergent bilingual students took the 2023 STAR reading. 217 were approaching grade level, 139 met grade level, and 41 mastered the grade level. Again, we don't have the final growth measures from TEA yet. Okay, Go ahead to the next one. And then our next one is our EOC English 1 and 2 for high school. 141 high school students took the EOC English, 79 approached grade level, 51 met grade level, and 2 mastered the grade level. Again, no final growth measures to report. Next one. Our next one is our EB summer enrichment, which is required by Tech and TAC code. 19 incoming first graders and 10 incoming kinder students attended this optional program, which focuses on language development, effective linguistic and cognitive needs of our emergent bilingual students at the youngest grade levels. Our next one is just showing some of the curriculum resources and assessment materials for our emergent bilingual students and also for our teachers that we provide. For the 22-23 school year, we filed 1 bilingual exemption for Emma Robertson for 1 teacher, and we did not have to file any ESL waivers for our other campuses. And our summary of findings for our professional development plan, which is submitted to TEA on November 1st of every year. The staff member with 1 bilingual exemption was required to complete all activities, professional developments, and coaching sessions listed on the alternative language program report filed with TEA. The staff member was required to obtain their certification by March 1st. However, she was unable to pass the teacher assessments. The students that were in this class were coded as participating in an alternative language program and received additional supports from the campus and certified teachers and paraprofessionals to provide them their language needs. GISD HR Director Wes Jones stated that GISD provided the following recruitment activities last year. We posted employment opportunities on various platforms, and we attended several job fairs with universities and colleges around the DFW area. Lastly, as I stated previously, based on the numbers of EB students presented, we had an increase of 221 students as of October 27th. And just to let you know, we have an additional 5 students, so right now we'll be at 979 students over the past 2 years, with this number continuing to increase the rest of the school year and beyond. The recommendations I've made, they're listed in more detail in the full report that y'all were presented in your board book. The first one is just for the board not to approve, but just consider the implementation of the new TEA elective innovative course for Granbury High School, which is called Multilingual Acculturation Studies for Newcomers. And a newcomer is any student that is 3 or less years in U.S. schools. Propose hiring an ESL specific certified support teachers for the 24-25 school year for all secondary campuses. 1 at Acton Elementary, 2 at Granbury Middle School, and 2 at Granbury High School, and those numbers were based on the EB numbers at those campuses. Use set-aside funds for the 10% BEA for filing the exemption and waiver to pay for the Texas assessment that teachers have to take, to reimburse them if they pass the test, and to cover substitute pay for those teachers that would have to be absent to take those assessments. Number 4, make it a requirement for all secondary teachers and those on the exemption and waiver to take the TEA updated content-based language instruction course offered by Region 11, and for any teacher that's been here 3 or more years to take a refresher course, just to remind them, the strategies we need to teach our emergent bilingual growing population of students. Number 5, coordinate with the Human Resource Department to reach out to other colleges and universities in Central to South Texas to attend their job fairs with the intention of seeking out bilingual certified teachers, which across the state, we're hurting for bilingual certified teachers. And then number 6, due to the increase of EB numbers, propose hiring of 1 full-time bilingual instructional coach or specialist in the near future to work with the bilingual and ESL teachers of EB students of the dual language campuses, Emma Robertson and Bronner Elementary, and if we get a new campus, that one as well. Thank y'all.
Good job. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
For those, if you picked up an agenda when you checked in, item 13D, discuss bullying, report with GISD was withdrawn. It was put on by Ms. Lowry and withdrawn by her. So we go to 13C, financial statements. Dr. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm happy to have the opportunity to play Mr. Whitefield tonight. And so you have the financial statements for the period ending October 31st, 2023 in front of you. Of specific note is the revenue collected. Expenditures to date represent 19.68% of the budget compared to 26.33% in 22-23. And so we are currently ahead of schedule this year, and collections look good. And as we get into, do you want me to just go ahead and move into cash flow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as we get into cash flow, you'll notice the, hold on a second, I want to go back and point out one more thing. Bear with me, I'm not as good as Emmett is in this. And the annual budget of $82.5 million, the VATRE funds we have not allocated it, but it is expected to jump the budget up to right at about $90 million in expected revenue. And so we'll have more information as it relates to that next month. But again, as the appraisal district sends out bills and the income, both local and state revenue, is realized for that, we do anticipate seeing a revenue increase from that 82.5 to close to $90 million, which a significant portion will be used, I guess, November 30th of this month, as we begin to take care of our teachers and staff on the budget that you guys approved in August, pending the ratification of the VATRE. So those funds are coming in, and we're going to push out approximately $5.5 million to teachers and staff and pay raises. So congratulations there. A little bit of good news. I sat here for years with Mr. Whitefield, and we looked at the cash flow statements, and then we also looked at our interest month to month, and at times we invest a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, and we were seeing little to no returns, sometimes as little as $4,000 or $5,000 in a month. And so in the month of September, we realized net interest of $134,000, and this past month, $131,000. And so for a net total in the 2 months of this current fiscal year of $266,603.85. So as interest rates continue to go up, that is good for our investments, and those are monies that will be realized and put back into our budget as revenue as well. So, Madam President, that is all we have as far as the financial reports and cash flow.
Okay. Then we will move to our final section of our agenda, public comment on non-agenda items. Monica Brown. One minute. Ms. Brown, you will have 1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Glenn, you have your famous T-shirt being worn by bullies in the audience tonight, directly quoting you. I know Faith Barnes had a lot to say about not being a bully and about the conduct of the board. That's what I grieved about this week. Billy Wimberly's conduct, Joni Glenn's conduct, and the unjust censure of Karen Lowry. So you've thrown the wrong people under the bus, unfortunately. Yeah, you have. EHAA is something that the parents need to go ahead and look up. It's on the website. Read your policy, and then go and search. And if you want information, I'd be glad to help and share, because there have been a load of lies. Melanie and Karen, thank you for standing up. Thank you for trying to get the board to be transparent even tonight. That was a shamble and a shame. We don't get to know what these policy changes are ahead of time. That's not transparency.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Todd Daniel. Mr. Daniel, you will have 1 minute.
I want 3 minutes because I signed up for...
You have 1 minute and your time has started, Mr. Daniel. You can take it arguing with me if you want to, but you only have 1 minute.
Okay, my question is a statement of fact from the board. Why was I prohibited from speaking on the agenda tonight? This is the fourth time. This is the fourth time. I want to know why. I've got a copy of the form, you know. Let me just read it to you guys, okay? All right, this is section 551.07, public testimony. This section applies only to government body described in section 551.01.3BL, which includes you guys. A governmental body shall allow a member of the public who desires to address the body regarding an item on the agenda for an open meeting of the body to address the body regarding the item at the meeting before, during the body's consideration of the item. C, governmental body may adopt reasonable rules regarding the public's right to address the body under this section.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. That concludes your time.
It's not going to end well.
Sheree Westland, you have 1 minute.
Good evening. As we eagerly await the official outcome of the recent election, it's essential to acknowledge the challenges. The opposition praised Ms. Graft for her efforts to block walk against the bond and GISD initiatives. However, let us remember that the fundamental questions we must all consider, did those who oppose us truly understand the depths of our children's needs? To those with personal vendettas, I would appreciate if you could reflect on the bigger picture. Did you attend any of the planning meetings? Were you there to witness firsthand the genuine concern and the well-being and the education of our children? Ms. Graft and Ms. Lowry and company, vendettas against Dr. Glenn and other board members overshadow our school's pressing issues. If you aren't here for the betterment of our schools, why are you even on the school board? Our GISD community is at a pivotal juncture, and your continued support is crucial. Let us raise above discord. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Westland. Laura Hefflinger. You have 1 minute.
Melanie Graff did not block walk Parker County, so quit lying about that. I live in Parker County. I know exactly who block walked, and y'all will never know, okay? I was hoping on this campaign flyer that you sent out, promising parental involvement and libraries with appropriate books for all students, but I see that's not going to happen. That was just campaign lies. Now I see you don't want parental involvement in the GISD. I was supposed to speak also before you voted on this as well. And, you know, this purse thing's ridiculous. Why can't we they can seat 3,000 people at a concert with plastic purses where you can see if we had guns or not. I mean, I'm holding all this crap. Okay, but 9 a.m., I agree, that's unreasonable. If something happens on that day to a child, it's not going to happen before 9 a.m.
Thank you very much. Allison Olam.
I recently watched a video in which school board member Ms. Graft was praised for knocking doors in Parker County in opposition of the bond. Ms. Graft,
As your children are homeschooled, I will draw correlations between your home and this school district. While I know you cannot answer, there are some questions I would like you to ponder. If your car was continually to break down, would you take out a loan to purchase that vehicle? If your AC was on its last legs, would you take out a loan to purchase that new AC? If your home's water system had an issue, would you fix it, taking out a loan if needed? As your home is their school, I wonder, did you take out a loan to purchase that home? It is your right to vote against the bond. Openly opposing and working against the bond as a school board member is inappropriate and unethical. It seems as if our children's needs are being held hostage by the opposition's political agenda, and this has to stop.
Thank you, Ms. Owen. Michael Davis. Mr. Davis, you have 1 minute.
I like my shirt too. All right, check it out. You need to talk to your husband about bullying people, all right? His little chest bumping and glares and everything. He tried that nonsense on me and lasted like a whole 4.5 seconds. So, you seem to squash that real quick. And you guys love talking about bullying. You guys are proponents of the biggest bullies in this dadgum town. Knock it off. I'm a firm believer you always listen to people because they always tell you exactly what they're guilty of first. Who would be bullied? You guys are the bullies. I'm not bullied. I just call you out on your nonsense. Your husband says, I'm not a bully, I'm just passionate. Well, you know what? Or I'm not aggressive, I'm passionate. Well, you know what? I'm passionate too. All right? Suck it up.
Thank you, sir. Paula McDonald.
I am here on behalf of every teacher and staff. You guys deserve that raise. I wish it could be more. You guys work so hard, and you are a voice. You made yourselves so heard. And thank you, all of you teachers and staff, for what you do every day, unless you have been in that classroom and you know how hard it is to deal with lots of personalities, lots of different moving parts. You have no idea how difficult teaching is. And they have taken hit after hit after hit from this community, not all of the community, a small group. You guys, you are appreciated. Dr. Glenn, thank you, Dr. Glenn. Thank you for your leadership. You are doing an outstanding job, and I'm sorry you're taking so many hits.
Crystal G.
I don't do this, so sorry. My name's Crystal G. I am a paraprofessional here at Granbury ISD. I've been with the district for 4 years. I started right before COVID. I just wanted to say thank you to the bond and to everyone involved in doing the strategic planning committee. With the help of the VATRE, it's made it to where I don't have to work 2 jobs anymore. I'm able to focus on being a mom to my children, being a wife to my husband, but also my schooling to become a teacher, and hopefully be employed by this great district. Within the last 4 years of being here in Granbury, Acton Middle School has treated me like one big family. The things they do to help each other out, to know that you're not alone, and to do little pick-me-ups is encouraging, especially when you have a community that's against your district. The love that the teachers and the board members have for our students in our community is amazing to see, also because you know each and every one of these kids are here for a purpose, and each and every one of the teachers, para, custodians, everybody's here for a purpose. Thank you for working so hard and getting our district the desperate things that we need. And Graft, if you have that much hatred towards your school district, you should resign.
Madam President, before we adjourn, there is one other thing that I remiss.
You spoke, thank you. You only spoke for one. You only can speak one.
So we have a, in the HR report tonight.
And then you let me speak because it's correct.
Ma'am, please escort her out. Please escort her out. In the HR report, I failed to mention some really good news. There's a young lady who I remember 5 years ago is a teacher in our bilingual program, and she would always shoot me emails and pester me with questions, and she wanted to learn more and more and more, and then she jumped into a master's program, and I thought, good Lord, we are in trouble if she ever becomes an administrator. And then she became an instructional specialist, and tonight when we approved the HR report, we actually made her the assistant principal, the second assistant principal at Bronner Elementary. Nubia, stand up. Nubia Velasquez. Nubia, Julie, with Sandy, truly a rock star leadership team at Bronner, which is now our largest elementary school. We're building mega elementaries, and they are the biggest. And you guys are going to do a fantastic job. What a great team, and congratulations, Nubia. We're proud of you. Madam President, that is all the business of the district tonight.
Oh, what a wonderful way to end. The time is now 8:14. This meeting is adjourned.
Sorry about that.